What's up, everyone? Today, we're going deep into a question that usually gets handled with a lot of judgment. Why doesn't she just leave him? We talk about it as if it's as simple as packing a suitcase, but if you've ever watched the TV classic Gaz'lam, you've seen Thuli's journey with Monde, and you know that it's never that simple. Thuli isn't weak. She's a high achieving, successful fashion designer. She has her own money, her own talent, and her own agency. So, why does she get stuck in a cycle of control? Today, we're using Irene Gillman's psychodynamic research as our decipherer. We're moving past the surface to look at the actual wiring of the brain in these toxic relationships. This isn't just a bad romance, it's a psychological dance called object relations. Once you see the steps, you can't unsee them. For a long time, old school psychology used the word masochism to explain women in Thuli's position. They basically argued that she had an unconscious need to be punished. Gillman completely shuts that down. Calling it masochism is just a lazy way of blaming the victim. Thuli doesn't want Monde to control what she wears or isolate her. Instead, she's actually caught in a survival mechanism that started long before she met him. The sadder part is Monde's need to project his own internal chaos onto Thuli so he can feel all-powerful. The maso part is Thuli taking the hits because she believes that if she can just fix her behavior, then she can keep her world from falling apart. It's a desperate attempt at control, not a desire for suffering. The core concept here is called splitting. To understand Thuli, you have to understand that her brain is working in two different folders. When we're babies, we can't understand that the mother who feeds us is the same mother who sometimes frustrates us. We split her into a good mother and a bad mother. Most people grow out of this, but under extreme stress, we revert back to that baby level logic. Thuli does exactly this with Monde. Folder A, Monde gives her expensive gifts and pays for Sfiso's rehab. He is the all-good person. And folder B, Monde becomes controlling and controls what she wears. He is the all-bad. The catch is that Thuli's brain keeps these folders completely separate to protect her. When things are good, bad Monde literally ceases to exist in her mind. This is how her psyche shields her from the terrifying reality that the man who saved her family is the same man destroying her soul. The timing of Thuli meeting Monde is massive. She's just lost Lily, her husband. Even though that marriage was also hard, his death leaves a vacuum. Monde meets Thuli in a clothing shop and asks her to try an adjustment for his sister-in-law because they have the same body shape. This is a classic move in psychology of control. Monde is testing her compliance. By getting her to step into clothes meant for another woman, he is literally seeing if she will step into a role that he has already designed for her. When she agrees and he buys it for her, Thuli's breadwinner fatigue kicks in. She thinks it's a gift. Psychologically, it's the first break in her prison wall. By the third date, Monde brings her a costume for a pool party. She's hesitant, but he insists. Later, we find out that his PA Vivian was the one who actually picked it out. Thuli is a fashion designer. Her entire career is based on her taste, but Monde doesn't want her taste. He wants her to be a curated object for his business associates. By using his PA to dress her, he is telling Thuli that her professional identity is irrelevant in his world. In one particular scene, after they rescued Sfiso from jail, Thuli admits that she's tired of carrying everyone else's weight. She's exhausted, and Monde's support is to offer to send her son Umsizi away to a boarding school, Hilton or Michael House in KZN. To her, this feels like a burden being lifted, but psychologically, Monde is clearing the board. By removing Umsizi, he is removing Thuli's biggest emotional anchor and her greatest reason to stay grounded in reality. He isn't supporting her motherhood. Instead, he's isolating her so he can have full symbiosis. The violence starts exactly where the skin is thinnest, the bathroom. Monde critiques the soap she uses. When Thuli finally pushes back and asks for space to bath freely, she's asserting her autonomy, and that is the one thing a controller cannot handle. Monde hits her to the floor, not in private, but in front of her son. By striking her in front of Umsizi, Monde is destroying Thuli's role as a protector. He is showing the son that the mother is bad or weak, and showing the mother that her safe space, which is the bathroom or her home, no longer exists. Her psychological skin is gone. She is raw, exposed, and trapped. This is why just leaving is a myth. Monde paid for Sfiso's rehab. He offered the best schools for Umsizi. He provided the best dresses. He built a good Monde folder so that Thuli could not see the monster until she was on the bathroom floor. Thuli's journey to healing starts starts when she realizes that the man who offered her a respite from Welile's laziness was actually the same man who wanted to own her soul. Integration means seeing that the support was actually subjugation. One of the most dangerous things about Monde is his tone. See, he doesn't scream. He doesn't look like a villain. He overpowers Thuli's decisions by insisting that she does things his way in a gentle manner. Thuli says that she'll try on the pool party costume later, but Monde doesn't get angry. He smiles. He gently insists that she do it immediately, and then she does it. When she feels humiliated at the party and tries to express it, he doesn't apologize. He softly tells her that she needs to do better next time at socializing. By never raising his voice, Monde makes Thuli feel like she's the one being difficult. If he was shouting, she could fight back, but because he's gentle, her brain stays in the all good folder. He isn't just suggesting schools for Msizi, he is colonizing her motherhood under the guise of focus and support. This softness is a silencer. It makes the psychic skin so thin that by the time he finally strikes her in the bathroom, she's already too psychologically colonized to believe her own reality. In her grief, Thuli's ego is depleted. Monde's wealth acts as a narcissistic supply that fills her empty hole. Because he's the first man that she meets after her loss, she projects all her hopes for safety onto him. She needs to believe that he is the total opposite of Welile, making the splits even deeper. To understand why Monde's control felt like safety, we have to look at what Thuli was running from. Her marriage to Welile culminated into emotional exhaustion. She was the breadwinner, the professional powerhouse, while Welile spent his days unemployed, drinking, and he was cheating on her while she climbed the corporate ladder. Thuli was suffering from compassion fatigue. She was tired of being the only adult in the room. So when Monde stepped in, rich, independent, and decisive, he felt like a reparative person. She thought to herself, finally, a man who doesn't need me to carry him. It's a tragic trade-off. She gave up her autonomy just to be relieved of her burden. There is a deeper irony here. Fashion is Thuli's power. It's about self-expression and personal agency. But Monde strikes her exactly where she's strongest. Monde is colonizing her self-image. By controlling her clothes, he's saying that the talent that made you successful isn't good enough. Only my version of you is acceptable. He turns her professional strength into a domestic weakness, using gifts as a weapon to strip her of the very autonomy that she worked so hard to build. This brings us to the most intensive part, projective identification. This is the invisible string between them. Monde likely feels unlovable or out of control inside. So instead of dealing with it, he projects those feelings onto Thuli and treats her like she is the one who is incompetent. The identification happens when Thuli starts to believe him. She thinks, maybe I do need his guidance. And this is the core of the dance. Monde dumps his mental garbage onto Thuli and she agrees to hold it just to keep the relationship alive. We have to talk about the scene where Thuli tries to open up to her mother. Her mother tells her to be quiet and keep the relationship issues to herself. Gillman points out that these patterns start in the family of origin. If Thuli learned early on that she cannot express bad or negative feelings without losing love, then she's already pre-programmed for a man like Monde. Her mother is reinforcing the splitting. She's essentially saying, ignore the bad version of Monde so that you can keep the good version of his money and status. People judge women like Thuli for neglecting her son, but this is a symptom of symbiosis. Thuli and Monde are tightly locked in this dance that there is no oxygen left in the room for anyone else. Thuli is using every ounce of emotional energy to manage Monde's moods. She's not neglecting her son because she doesn't love him. Instead, she's neglecting him because she's currently a part person struggling to survive a part man. So, how does this end? The goal isn't just leaving, it's integration. Right now, Thuli lives in black and white. Real growth happens when she can put the two folders together and see the gray area. She has to be able to say, the man who paid for the rehab and the man who makes me feel trapped is the same person. When she stops splitting, the good version of Monde loses its magic. The gifts on worth the soul-crushing control. She moves from a borderline way of thinking to a whole object way of thinking. Only then can she regain her career, her son, and her own voice. It's a long road, but understanding the why is the first step to breaking the dance. What do you guys think? Have you seen the splits happen in real life? Does the good Monde keep people trapped in bad relationships? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time on the next deep dive.